Hello everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another weekly live stream here at my YouTube channel. You might be able to hear here or there, we're having crazy wind outside. So hopefully we don't have any internet interruptions, but just in case that does happen, that's probably what's happening. So just one little housekeeping item before we get going here, or actually two. Well, one's kind of related. The first one is the Celebrate class at onlinecardclasses.com. Starts in 1 week from today on May 19th. We'd love to have you join us. Myself and four amazing guest artists and instructors are teaching lots of celebration and happy birthday and congrats cards and just everything in general. So go on over to onlinecardclasses.com and check out that class. There is the link down below if you'd like to see any info about it. And all of the products for the class are still in stock. So if you wanted to sign up for the class today and also purchase the class kit, or if you just want to get the class kit items and not take the class, like, you do you. But those are shipping immediately. They can get out the door and you could possibly get them before class even starts. So if you have been on the fence, wondering if you want to join Celebrate, now is the time. Now, of course, if you are watching this replay weeks later or months later, years later, who knows when, you can still participate in that class as well. Those classes, once they're up and on the onlinecardclasses.com website, they don't go away. So if you are by chance super busy next week, you're out of town, you're like, I don't want to take that class, I'm not going to be home for it, you could still take the class. You can view the class lessons after the fact and do them at your own pace. It's completely up to you. Everything is pre-recorded, nothing is live, so it's a really low pressure class. As far as I know. So I hope you guys will join us. So that's the first bit of housekeeping. The link to Celebrate is down below, and you can check that out. Okay, over in the chat, hello. So many of you. I love everyone who you recognize each other's names and you say hello. I love it. A bunch of you have already received your class kit, which is awesome. You're all set for next week. Love that. The other bit of housekeeping I wanted to mention actually takes us right into today's card, which is I had a brand new release go live on Friday. So many fun products for the month of May. I'm going to be using, I guess, just one bundle. I'm going to be using one of the bundles tonight to create a card that I showed, but I'm going to create it in a different color palette just to show something a little bit different from what you've already seen. So let's switch to the overhead. Hello, I'm up in the corner now. So this is one of the cards that I showed in my walkthrough video for the May 2025 release. I loved taking this card. It was a little bit time consuming because it was a lot of stenciling and stamping and things like that to create my own background, but I think it's so worth it. So I thought it would be fun to recreate this, but in a different color palette. So I was also in love with this color palette that I used on a bunch of other cards as well. So I thought I would do purples and pinks kind of, and then I'm going to change up the greens and do more of a teal aqua green, it's a little bit more of a bluish green. I thought that would be really pretty. So we're going to change it up and do this today. And I'll show you how to use the stencils that come with this bundle. I mean, you can buy the stamps without the stencils, but I think the stencils make it so easy. Okay, let's see here. Question. Lola's asking, I want to buy some Concord and Ninth inks. Oh, wow. Do you see that shaking? I feel like that's the house shaking because of wind. That's crazy. I want to buy some C9 inks. How do I do it and you get credit for it? Well, you could just click over and just purchase them. It's fine. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, if you click through any of my links in a video and it goes to Concord and Ninth, it will most likely be an affiliate link and you can just make your purchase from there. So go ahead and order whatever you'd like. Yeah, go for it. I had to think about that for a minute. I don't know, because things are a little different now since I design my own products. Technically I don't use an affiliate link for my own products. That would be silly. So I had to think about that for a minute. Okay, let's see here. Should we get in this? Oh, Diana says they had an earthquake in Knoxville and there was a bunch of shaking. Earthquakes are very unnerving, aren't they? So unnerving. Oh, and Diana in western Minnesota is getting a lot of wind too. Yikes. Molly's here. Yay, Molly. Oh, with Sylvia too. Sylvia's healing from a surgery she had. So sending healing hugs over to Sylvia. She's watching with Molly. I love it. I love that the two of you are together tonight. That's so great. Let's jump into actually working on the card today. So this is the bundle of products. We have a 6x8 stamp set. And you know what? I didn't even update the supply list at all. I probably should do that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go update the supply so you can at least have the links, right? Yikes. I am all over the board tonight. So the Long Line Roses stamp set actually has coordinating stencils as well as dies. So I'm going to be using all three tonight. I'll just use the dies for, what's the word, for the greeting. But the stencil I'll be using for everything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these to the supply list. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. And then while I've got this out, might as well just, put this in. Why not? You're getting a little behind the scenes sneak peek. So that link that's down below in the video description that says like visual supply list, that is what I'm updating right now. I really should, our moderators, I should just give them a heads up. Like, this is what I'm doing tonight. I'm not that organized, y'all. Okay, let's add, I'm using Ballet Slipper cardstock. And we've got Juniper. I just want to make sure you guys have links in case you need them. And Tidepool. Seriously, Juniper and Tidepool, I think those are my two most used inks right now. Okay, I've updated the supply list with most of the things that I'm using. I can update it more as we go along if we need to add more supplies. Okay. Oh, Fran, that's funny. Fran says, I purchased some of your stuff and then later in the day, C9 went live with their new inks. Of course I had to make a second purchase. Isn't that how it always goes? Okay, so this is the stamp set. I have the dies. There's a die for every single stamp in the stamp set. And then we have some stencils here for coloring in the flowers. So we'll get into it after I've done my stamping, but all of these little elements are labeled. See how it says flower 2 medium? For the flower, you need a light, medium, and dark ink. And for the leaves, you need a light and dark. So I've labeled them, it's just a suggested, way for doing all of your stenciling. But of course, you could do whatever you'd like. But these are just the ones that I thought would be useful. Shirley's asking, could you design a sentiment set with the mixed font with mixture of celebrations, please? Love the mixed fonts. That's a very good suggestion. I'm going to write that down. Hold on. Let me grab a piece of paper. Believe it or not, I'm about to start designing my holiday release. So that suggestion, if I get to it, might have to wait a bit, but I just think it's kind of interesting. Rebecca says, I got all the new colors in cardstock. I need more, right? I know they keep the cardstock packs to just, I think it's 10 sheets to make it a little more economical and you're not getting a ton, but I kind of wish they came in like 20 because I always have to get 2 sheets at a time. So let's start with stamping flowers. And thankfully, I already figured out the arrangement for the 5x7 card front over here. So I don't have to think too hard this time. I can just like stamp and go for it. Okay, I am going to use my stamp wheel though, because I discovered, especially for like when I'm going to have like a big stamp kind of coming off the edge of something, having a really large surface area works well. Like you could definitely do this in a MISTI, but I just find doing it in a stamp wheel, I find it so much more convenient and a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to take my little stamp plate, my wheel plate off, and I've got some ballet slipper cardstock that's cut to 5x7. All right, let's see here. Let's work on, how about this edge first? So I'm actually going to move this over and put it against that edge and just press that down really well. And then I'll take my flower stamps. Now I'm being kind of, I don't want to stretch these stamps too much as I remove them from the sheet because they're supposed to match up with the stencil, right? So we'll just do that right there. And then this one right here. That one's a very solid one. Okay. So we'll just put this up here in this corner. I'm kind of eyeballing like what is going off the edge here. That looks like that's about right. About like that. And then down in this corner, we need this to come in about like that. And I can stamp both of these together at the same time. Okay, let's see here. Pick that up. Now, I don't want the lines of this stamp to get really blobbed out when I go to stamp. So I'm going to maybe even have to stamp each one of these twice and keep the lines really, really fine. Now, our friend Sika, who might be in the chat, I don't know if I've seen her yet, she swears by VersaFine Clair. She says that it's better than my regular old stamp by the VersaFine Onyx Black. She says it's better. I'm still testing that. They seem about the same to me at the moment. So I trust Sika. She's an amazing crafter. I trust her. So here we go. You could also stamp this, you know, like you could do a gold. Ooh, now I just want to do it with embossing powder. That's okay. All right. Flip this over. And I'm going to use my little stamp press just to go over that. All right. Looks like I missed a few little leaves right there. Much better. Okay. Now I have to clean these stamps so that I can move them around. First, I'm going to use a baby wipe. Denise is concurring with Sika's findings that VersaFine Clair is superior to the original VersaFine. Love that. Okay, so I'm just cleaning that up for an initial kind of cleaning. And then I've got my little scrubber block from Hero Arts. And I just spray a little bit of stamp cleaner on it and go over the entire stamp. But then it leaves it kind of oily. So I'm going to grab another baby wipe. And you can see how it still picks up a bunch of that ink. We don't want the ink, you know, when we're moving it around on our project before we found the perfect placement for the stamps. We don't want that oil to kind of transfer over. Oh, I didn't even see if Sika responded to me calling her out. Not that it was calling her out, it was just a suggestion, you know, it was a good suggestion. Love it. Okay, so I'm gonna run my hands over this to like get any wetness from the baby wipe off. And then we will move our cardstock. I also need to clean my little mat inside my stamp wheel. See, look at that, it like stains. But thankfully, Like an ultra clean stamp cleaner cleans that right up. But just like it left the stamp really greasy, it's leaving this really greasy, and then we have to wait a moment for it to dry because we don't want it to get our cardstock all wet. Okay, come on, dry. Dry. I'm ready to move on. My hands are dry. Okay, there we go. Now it's looking good. Okay, so let's do this one right here. It's going to go off that edge. So we'll be in this top corner. I got a little bit of the spray right there, but that's okay. All right, we're doing the big flower. And we need to get this off the plate right now too. And that big flower is going like right, kind of like right there. Actually, it's a little up. Okay, I think I'm getting a little bit of ink. For all of my cleaning of the stamp, I think I got a little bit on it. Yeah, do you see that? Hopefully once we get ink blending our colors on, it won't show too much. Okay, back to VersaFine. Just a very light hand when I'm putting this on. And then when I go to stamp, I'm going to keep it very light as well, because I don't want it to blob out and be too thick in some areas, if that makes sense. Looks pretty good. There's a little spot right here that I feel like it needs to be pressed down a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. So I'm going to clean this stamp really quick. Here's my little scrubber block that still has some of that cleaner on it. Okay. I'm getting ink all over my nail polish. Jennifer would be proud. Okay, and now it looks like it's like this top corner. So I'm going to move my cardstock to this bottom corner, right down here. And then, looks like I need to stamp this twice actually, because I've got this right here and there's just a little bit of that butt right there. So we'll get this in here as carefully as possible, just like that. Pick that up. We'll get our stamp all inked up. I do like how thick the stamp pad is. I do like that in comparison to the VersaFine. I do feel like I have a little more control over it. You know, this would be really pretty, like stamped in Plumberry. Don't you think? Lovely. That was a perfect stamping. All right, we're going to clean this one more time. Well, twice, I guess. We're going to stamp it once more and then clean it again. All right. So I need my stamp to be pretty dry. And then we just want that right there, just to kind of finish off that little spot. Oh, it's stuck to the rest. Come up. There we go. Look, and there's a little bit of black ink on it still. That's funny. Okay, we just need this that little spot. Ta-da! So we have all of that filled in. This would be one of those cards that I think would be fun. You know, once you have the stamps on a stamp wheel or in a MISTI or something, it would be fun to go ahead and just stamp a bunch of backgrounds, change the colors of the ink, change, you know, do embossing powder, do whatever, and just really play with it. They're really big images. I love big images like this because it's almost like you're getting a background, but you're not, you know? Okay. Lovely. And then this one, going back on that sheet. Okay, we'll come back to that for the greeting. For now, let's get some of our stenciling started. Now this ink, it is a pigment ink, so it might take a minute for it to really dry so that it won't smear while we're doing our stenciling. So I'm going to hit it with a heat tool. Why not? Just to get it a little bit more dry. Okay, I am noticing, you can't see it on camera, but this like stamp spray that I was using, it got on my glass mat up here, and before I accidentally put something in it, I'm gonna clean it. This is like one of those moments where I'm kind of like, do I dare test fate? I don't know that I do. I have a bottle of Windex for my glass surface. I've got some paper towels. I'm just going to quickly clean this. I've moved all of my paper for my project out of the way. I'm going to spray really close and clean the surface of my glass mat. You know, I do not do this nearly enough. I normally just like spot clean. And you know, having Windex out to clean this, it's amazing. It takes off adhesive, takes off paint with hardly any elbow grease needed. I love it. Okay. I feel better about that. Clean up the cleaner. Yes, that's true. Yes, I had to clean up the cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to do my stenciling on a grip mat. Seriously, y'all, since I've been using a grip mat for all my stenciling, so much easier. I love it. Okay, we're dry now. So I'm just going to put that right there. I keep the plastic on the back of my grip mat because pulling off one side is a struggle enough, right? So we'll do this. For those of you who have been following my curly hair journey, I have stumbled upon the perfect like recipe of products. I'm loving the Innersense line. I think I mentioned it last week, possibly. Have any of you used Innersense hair products? Any of my curly girls in the chat, let me know. Andrea says, I wonder if Windex takes up dried glue. That is my nemesis on my glass mat. I've been using hand sanitizer, but it takes a lot of elbow grease. It was dried liquid glue. It was like the honeybee glue, and it just like picked it right up. Like no problem. Maybe? Okay. We've got the stencils here. Okay, so like I mentioned, the stencils have labels on them, so you know exactly what you're going to be stenciling. Let's start with the large flower. And let's see. So right here we've got Flower 1 Dark. Do you guys see that? Flower 1 Dark. And then flower 1 medium. That's hard to see right there. Flower 1 medium and flower 1 light. I like to work from light to dark, especially in cases like this where I'm going to be using similar ink colors, because then I can use the same blending brush. So I'm going to do it that way. Okay, so using our lovely little grip mat here, I might have to move this around. I'm going to start with flower 1 light. And you just kind of have to look around and be like, okay, where are all these little pieces? There we go. To line it up. Kind of get it in the right spot and then just press down on the grip mat. So my 3 colors of ink for the flower are Ballet Slipper, Briar Rose, and Plumberry. Starting with Ballet Slipper. Oh, I do use the Bounce Curl brush. That has helped a ton. Yes, Crystal says she uses Intersense. Love it. Leanne, I use Prose shampoo and conditioner. Isn't it funny how we all just we're all using the good products. Christy uses Intersense. Love it. Where do you buy it? I bought mine from Ulta. I ordered online, but I recently just placed an order directly from them. I'm trying to do that more instead of like going to other sources and trying to order directly from these small businesses. So I ordered directly from Intersense. Okay, I'm just going to come in and start adding this ballet slipper. And I won't even worry about cleaning my stencils until we're at the very end here. All right, we've got another instance of this flower right here. We just have to figure out where it lines up. Looks like that's about it. We only have the big flower twice. We have the smaller flower twice, but we have the bud 3 times. All right, really easy blending. All right, so I'm going to find the flower 2 light so that, here we go. Since I am using that same blending brush, it's this one right here. Okay, and then we have this one right here. Okay, and then the buds or whatever, they only have the medium and the dark colors on them, so don't have to worry about those for now. So let's go to medium. So flower 1 medium, it says right here. Do you guys see that? Flower 1 medium. There we go. And let's see, for the medium colors, I am using Briar Rose, which I think is kind of just like a little bit of a darker pink. So do I want to use the same blending brush? I think I kind of want to switch to like a, well, yeah, we'll use the same blending brush. Okay, and I'm not like doing any fancy blending on this. Of course you could have a little darker in the center and have it lighter on the outside. I'm mostly just getting, you know, just a flat wash of color. Not doing anything too crazy. Oh, it's already taking shape. I love it on top of this ballet slipper. so pretty. Okay, where does this line up? Oh, right there. Perfect. It actually comes together really quickly. You could, of course, like watercolor the flowers, but I think the stencil makes it so fast. Okay, looks like I have some of that ballet slipper was a little juicy right there. Okay. All right, so now we need flower 2 medium. Looks like it's right here, flower 2 medium. Let's see here. In fact, you know what? That bud only has the darkest color on it now that I look at it. Okay, so this is flower 2 medium. That same Briar Rose shade. Oh, I love it so much. And then get this one lined up over here. Okay. Oh, I love that. It's so pretty. Yes, Sika, these colors do feel peaceful. I would agree with that assessment. Okay. So now we're going to the dark on each flower. So let's see here. We have flower 1 dark. Got like adhesive stuck to it. So flower 1 dark. It's easier to line up this one since it's the last little section we need for the flower. So it's easier to quickly find your spot. Okay, so Plumberry. And now I really am going to switch to a purple blending brush. Okay, and Plumberry, it's a new ink pad. It is very juicy, so I'm not coming in hot directly from the ink pad. I'm kind of dabbing it off on the stencil and then coming in because I don't want it to collect in the corners of the stencil and be way too inky. You know what I'm saying? And I can pick up this ink from the stencil when my brush gets a little bit too dry. Okay. See that completed flower? Oh, I love it so much. We'll come over here, get this one lined up. Let's see. Adding a little more of the dark right in the center. There we go. I think I will clean this stencil just because I got the Plumberry a little close to where that stem is going to go through. So I think I will take a moment and clean my stencils here in a minute. Okay. Flower 2 dark. This one right here. And now I have the little bud up here too. Okay. Oh, I love that so much. Looks like I have my stencils a little off right on that edge. So I'm going to come in and just get that edge a little bit. There we go. Add a little darker spot, which I'm okay with. We'll add our stencil right here for this other flower. It may seem tedious to sit here and like reposition the stencil over and over, but I really find you get a better result if you do that. Oh, I was just thinking, the Longline Leaves background from last month, from April, wouldn't it be fun to do that as the background? And then you do these either masked and they're in front of the leaves, or maybe you do these and then die cut them. Stop it. That might need to happen. Okay, we've got this little bud over here that's still hanging out uncolored. So we'll just get him position just right. There we go. Super easy to do that one. And then I'm just going to take a minute and clean the stencils I've used. I've got this spray bottle with rubbing alcohol in it. So yeah. I'm just going to spray with the rubbing alcohol. And then I'm using a microfiber cloth just to clean off any of the ink. All right, there's one stencil that's clean. Two stencil, three stencil, and I've got one more. Okay, so let's start with the lighter shade for the leaves. Let's see. I'm not sure what we're talking about in the chat. I'm confused. You're talking about how people are talking about others in videos? All right, so I'm just lining up these leaves down here. This is the lighter. So I'm going to grab Tide Pool. And I can put my other brushes back. And I'll use a light teal. Well, these brushes are almost looking the same, but I'm pretty sure this is the lighter one. Okay, I'm curious how this is going to look on top of the ballet slipper cardstock. I suspect it's going to be good. You know what? I think my Tide Pool ink pad is very dry. At the risk of having it be too juicy, I think I'm going to do the re-inker. I recently just purchased some new ink pad storage for my C9 inks because they were so they were growing and, you know, all the new colors. And the ink pad storage unit that I bought from Stampin' Storage, it has spots for the bottles. It's lovely. So you put the ink pad in and then it has the bottle spot directly next to it. It makes it so easy to keep them organized. There we go. All right, so Tide Pool. And I'm just going to take my ink pad here and do a little squiggle. It's immediately absorbing into the pad. So that's how you know it needed to be refilled. Or re-inked, I should say. So I'm going to go like this, just pick up a little bit of that ink. It's probably going to be a lot. Yeah, now I can like concentrate the color a little bit. Lovely. Ooh, I really like that on top of the ballet slipper. I think that's going to be great. All right, we'll move over here, and I just need to get these two little leaves. Oh, going back to the whole Inner Sense products for curly hair, they have, hold on, they have travel sizes at their website. That's what I ordered, was travel bottles, because they have smaller bottles, even their foams. Love it. Oh, I almost didn't get this little edge here. There we go. All right. I'm just going to clean off that kind of quick. And then we can go on to the lighter of the leaves for flower 2. And this one can be a little bit harder to line up because it's a lot of leaves kind of all over. I think that's about it right there. Dana, do it. Join me. All right, so this is Tide Pool. This is the first of the 2 colors I've chosen for the leaves. Oh, so pretty. Okay, we're gotta move that other ink pad out of the way. This is hard to figure out where I'm lining this up because I'm looking at it upside down, kind of. That look right? I think that looks about right. I'm so glad I re-inked this, even though I'm just picking up ink from one corner of the ink pad, because I'm not having to go back 5 million times to get more ink. Okay, and then we've got just a little bit of leaves right up here with this little guy. So we'll just get this lined up right there. Ta-da! Okay, so now we're going to do all of the darker leaf areas. So going back to flower 1, leaves dark. There you go, now you can see it really well. And we're going to switch inks, and we're going to use Juniper. Okay. Uh-oh, I've got the hiccups. Sometimes I just get like a single hiccup. Let's hope that's what that was. Okay. Let's see. I'm hoping my Juniper has recently been inked. Oh, it's good. Actually, it's really not. It's kind of dry as well. That's okay. It's not as dry as Tide Pool, so I think I can make do. There we go. And I need just a little tiny bit up here in this top corner. Just the teeny tiniest amount. that was all I needed. Okay, I'm going to spray this with alcohol. Okay, and then moving on to the dark leaves. Let's see. Right there. So as I've been doing computer work the last few days, I've been listening to like music either in or inspired by Bridgerton. It just makes me want to rewatch Bridgerton. Does anyone know when the next season comes out? I was hoping that is there going to be another season this summer, or do we have to wait another year? I'm vaguely remembering someone saying we'd have to wait till 2026, which makes me really sad. But you know what? I'll just rewatch. You know, the last season of Bridgerton is just completely wrapped up in my head with my cruise that I took with Jennifer, my friend Jennifer McGuire, because we actually watched, like, I gave her the condensed summary of the first 2 seasons of Bridgerton because the 3rd season was dropping, like, when I think there were like 2 or 3 days left of our cruise. And I was like, girl, I'm going to want to watch it. So I got her watching it with me, and then we watched the entire 3rd season together. We had a lot of downtime, okay? Oh, 2026. Dang it. Oh, that's so pretty like that, though. You know what? It's making me want to add a little bit of like briar rose around the outside edge, just with a little bit of ink blending, you know, blending in from the edge. I think that could be really pretty. I might have to do it. The whole like rattling, like you guys were talking about, the woodpecker thing, you know, it really does help having the ink stand holding the ink pad. Okay, almost ready. Then we'll just have a little bit of the leaves on that one little single bud. It's right here. Okay, ta-da! Okay, everything's colored in. I'm going to clean this last stencil really fast. Sorry, things are like moving around in my drawer next to me. Okay, and then I think I want to do just a little bit of really soft ink blending in off the sides, but I'm going to pick this up first so I can clean up, because there's green and all sorts of stuff on the outer edges. In fact, I think when I'm ink blending without a stencil off the edge of cardstock, I like to use just regular paper beneath my project, because then it really traps the ink as I'm blending. I feel like I have a little more control. So I'm going to put my grip mat away and use just a little bit of like inexpensive computer paper. I go through this so slowly because I hardly print anything these days. So some will be sacrificed for this project. Okay. And then I think Briar Rose is probably the color I'm looking for. We might even bring in a little bit of Plumberry as well. But I'm thinking just like blend it in from the corners just a little bit. Just like really softly. So it'll make the center really glow. You know what I'm saying? I'm now using these really large 1-inch brushes from Pink Fresh. I use them all the time now. And I'm really kind of blending more off the cardstock than on, because I really want to control how much of that ink I'm actually applying. There we go. Now we're getting a little more color in there. So I'm going to add this all around the outer edge, and then I might bring in a little bit of Plumberry just on the edges, just, you know, for a little bit of that dramatic flair. Once again, I'm working on Ballet Slipper cardstock, so it already was a little bit of a pale pink. Making sure I don't have any ink on my fingers while I'm holding it right there in the center. I like how this is really giving it a glow. Oh, I totally just came in with way too much ink. That's okay. Whatever. Vicky's asking about Ohuhu cardstock. I have heard in my premium membership, we had a Zoom call, and I think Molly said she was using the Ohuhu cardstock with envelopes, and she said it was really good. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the Plumberry, and I'm going to be really, really careful with this because I don't want it to come in and overwhelm it. So I'm switching to a purple brush. Okay. I'm just really getting that edge with the Plumberry. I might even switch to a different brush. Like, this is a really soft brush, but it really disperses a lot of ink. So sometimes it's hard to control. I'm switching to this one from Simon Says Stamp. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like I can have it go on pretty softly, but it's keeping it to a smaller area. You see that? Just so it's like adding, and then I can come in with the larger brush and really soften out the blend. Oh, is this your woodpecker sound you were talking about? I'm going to laugh every time I hear it now. I feel like this brush that has more condensed bristles, like shorter condensed bristles, I think it adds more ink all at once. But for like a super soft blend, I really like those 1-inch brushes from Pinkfresh. Okay. Oh, Brandy, that's so sweet. Another super chat. I love it. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like the release. Shai's asking if I have different blending brushes for different brands. I do not. If the brand, like if the ink is a dye ink like these are today, I have, and most of my inks are, I use all the same blending brushes. However, the one brand that has their own dedicated blending brush is Distress Oxides. Now, the original Distress inks, those are dye, so I would use these same brushes. But for oxides, I use their own brushes. So they just have one set of brushes dedicated to them. And it's just like, you know, the colors of the rainbow, you know, like, you know, I just have a purple brush and a red brush and pink brush, things like that. Okay. That's really pretty. So dramatic. Wow. Okay. We're done with all of our ink blending. Now all we have to do is put it on a card base and add a grading. Super fast tonight. Okay, let's stamp a grading really fast. Look at my stamp wheel again. Originally, I was thinking of having some Plumberry cardstock. Like, here's the original card that we're kind of basing this one off of, and I just did black. I don't know what just happened now. Sorry, it sounded like something fell off the counter. Maybe a cat is playing. I was thinking I might do Plumberry, but maybe... What if it was matte gold with white embossing powder, and then I did a gold frame around the outside edge? I think that could be really pretty. I think that could work. So let's see, I happen to have, and then if we don't like the gold, I can always, you know, I can do the Plumberry. But I think that'll be nice. All right, I've got this little bit of gold that I've just been cutting scraps out of. Put that right there in the center. And then for our greeting, let's see, there's one in here, You're in My Thoughts. I think that could be really pretty. Put that right there. All right, so I'm going to load up this gold cardstock with anti-static powder. And my anti-static powder tool is, there we go. Let out more powder, please. Okay, there's lots of powder there. And then I'll ink up my stamp with white pigment ink. Yeah, I think I'll do white pigment ink. And then just press that down just lightly. Oh, beautiful. All right. Clean up this ink. Peel this up. And then I've got my white embossing powder. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. get my stamp wheel out of the way. I'll let this heat up just a little bit. You know, gold, like white on top of the gold cardstock, works so well. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. Letting it cool off a little bit, and then we will die cut. Put my stamps away while I'm sitting here. I also need to prep a 5x7 card base. They're like sitting back here. I have like a whole stack of pre-cut cardstock that need to be scored, which I have not scored yet. I need to just like, you know, this is what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to need to like kind of just a crafting sesh with some TV watching. So maybe I'll watch Bridgerton and I will just score and fold a ton of cards. That sounds like a great afternoon. I've been working hard on the Celebrate class, so yeah. A lot of card making has been occurring over the last week, let's just say. Okay, and then we need to adhere this to, let's see, which way do we want it? I think like this is good. We just need to put this on the front. Seriously, if you guys have not tried this Tombow Extreme adhesive yet, talk about sticky. Like, make sure you know where you want your paper, because there is no pulling it back apart when you're using this one. Okay. Lovely. All right, now let's die cut this right here. Okay, let's see. And I've got to figure out which one it is. I'm thinking it's this one. So, that's totally the one. I feel like I could like look up in my computer monitor and I could like get an overhead view. That looks great. All right, I don't want my plate to leave any marks on it, so I'm going to switch to my very clean plate. Put this one down here. And it did flatten the embossing just a tiny bit, but not too bad. I mean, look at that. That looks beautiful. And I've got ink all over my hand. Jennifer would be proud. Okay. Put my die back in its little storage pocket. And then we can decide if we want, do we want to just keep it like this, really simple? Just, I think it needs the frame. I think it needs the gold frame, right? Let me go grab my gold cardstock. I might even have one that's already cut, because I tend to cut a lot of these gold frames. So I might already have one. Okay. Oh, do I not? Wait. How do I not have... This is not my regular gold. Where did my regular gold go? All right, well, I guess I'll be cutting a new one. No big deal. Just had hoped to reuse. Okay, so I am going to be using my A7 thin frames. And I might as well just cut both at the same time. So that's what I'm going to do. I need to cut down my cardstock real quick though. Probably about 5.5 wide would do it. You know, just half a sheet of letter cardstock. Okay. Let's back the camera out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to cut the outer frame as well as the inner frame. And I might as well get them pretty centered because I could possibly use the frame that's cut in between. Oh, lovely. Cut beautifully. All right, so I could have that just be on the outer, or I think could be really pretty. I could even do both. Oh, that could be really pretty. Oh, I think both is a little too much. I like it as one. Okay, smaller frame or larger frame? I'm gonna put up a poll. You guys let me know. Let me get the poll up first. Hold on 1 minute. Do. Start a poll. Okay. Small frame or large frame? Okay. You guys let me know in the chat which you prefer. Someone also said, hey, make it landscape. I don't think I want it landscape. Yeah, I like it like this better. Putting all my gold cardstock aside, all my extras. And I'm gonna put my die cutting sandwich back together. Looks like small frame is winning out by quite a bit, actually. 3/4 of you are voting for the small frame. Oh, now people are saying both. I didn't put that as an option. Dang it. Have I made a frame that isn't gold? Yes, I've done it in white quite a bit, and I've also done it in silver. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the small one because that's the one that everyone's going for. So, one way that makes it really easy to adhere the thing on there, the frame, is I'm going to put just a little bit of, well, it's actually a permanent adhesive, but I'm going to take a little bit of the tack off of it. But you put it down like this. You get it kind of centered. This is just the interior that was cut. And then all I have to do is bring this in and I get it lined up right away. So let me take a little bit of glue. And I'm doing just like some little dabs of glue right up close to where I'll be adhering the frame. I thought about doing a line of glue, but I think at that point I'd have too much glue squidging out, you know, because it's a really thin frame. Okay, and then I can just take my frame, get it lined up just right. And I'm going to hold it in place a little bit until the glue starts to dry. And then I can just peel up that interior piece. Oh, wait, Nada, that's so sweet. Thank you for that super chat. So now I can peel this piece up really carefully. And then I'm left with just my frame. And it's on there perfectly without a bunch of, you know, fuss. Some people are wanting to see both frames. So this is what it would look like with both frames. And then I'm just going to put the You're in My Thoughts right there. I guess I could also put it a little farther down or something too. Or no, it's going to have to go right over that bud. But not bad. So, in fact, you know what? I think I turned my card around. Yeah, I moved it just a little bit. The original had the flowers like this, and then I would be covering up that up there. Either way, right? People like both. Okay. It is different, right? I like it. It's a little different having both, and I think I like that finished edge as well. Okay, before I glue it down, I'm just going to assess to make sure my card is the correct size. Looks like it's pretty close. I don't think I'll have any issues. So I'll just take this down the side. Truth Carrot, I have not updated the supply list with everything quite yet. I don't think the matte gold cardstock or the frames are on the list for things that, you know, more prominent items that I've used on the card, but I will do that shortly. Just adding a little bit of glue right around that edge. Just getting that lined up right on the edge before I really press things down. Oh, I forgot my greening's not on there yet. Just slid right off. Okay, so now I'm going to put this on some foam. Okay. Hour and 15, not bad for a card from start to finish. All right, where'd my tweezers go? Here we go. Put that right there. I totally put that on crooked. Oh well, I guess it's a little bit crooked. Okay, so here are the two cards. This one was the one I'd already made. Zoom in here a little bit. Here we go. Those are the two cards. Love it. Is my May collection out of stock right now? It might be that the full bundle is out of stock. I'm not sure. Is something out of stock right now? I have to go look. I have not looked at the moment. Okay, so the bundle sold out. Okay, so it's the finishing touches dies that are sold out. That's why the full bundle is sold out. But if you don't want the finishing touches dies, then you could just, order everything piecemeal. You could do that too. But I believe everything else in my line, except for those finishing touches dies, is available. Everything's in stock. Thank you all. This one turned out so good. I'm glad I took the time to recreate it with like the purples, like the red violets. I love how it turned out. Love it. Okay, well, I'm going to do a quick spiel for those watching the edited replay, which hopefully I'll get up tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to update the supply list really quick with just adding those few things that we added, put in here at the last minute. And then we'll close up here. So here we go. Here's the edited replay spiel. So here is the finished card for today. I love the different color palette and just changing it up from the original card. We added the frames. We added the ink blending coming in from the sides. Just adding a few little details like that can make it look a little bit new, but also, still reminiscent of the first card. So I think that turned out pretty well. Once again, the colors used on this were Ballet Slipper, Briar Rose, and Plumberry on top of Ballet Slipper cardstock, which is kind of fun. And then I just used gold for the frames and the grading. So thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder that the Celebrate class starts a week from today. You can sign up at any time and the products are available. The kit for the class is still available as well. Thanks so much for watching and I will see you all in another video very soon. Okay. All right. Now we're looking at the chat. Oh, I was going to update the supply list. I could do that while we're chatting. If you asked a question that I totally missed, I know Shy asked one about if I'm ever gonna have like little people in my releases. Drawing people is not my strong suit, so probably not. But I mean, never say never. Never say never, right? Okay, let's see here. Where'd my supply list go? Here we go. So A7 frames. So I need to add that, as well as gold matte cardstock. And white embossing powder and white pigment ink. What else did I use? I'm like, what did I do? Oh, the blending brushes. Let me add those to the supply list. So first I used the Altenew mini blending brushes, and then I used the Pink Fresh 1-inch large, really fluffy brushes. And then I used the Simon Says stamp brushes in there as well. So I'll throw those in. Sorry to do this. I just, like, while you're on here, I just wanted to get these in. The supply list is always the worst. Like, it takes me forever to get them updated. Okay, I think that's most everything. Yeah, I can draw cats. I can draw animals. People, I always love everyone else's. What about periscopes? Strong suit, periscopes. I'm not sure. What are you referring to, periscopes? I'm not sure. Oh, Allie, yes. I believe you sent me an email about a spreadsheet of all my releases. It's a good suggestion. I've got to look into that. I will look into that. Let's see here. Molly says, I need a pair of pants in the fabric of this card. That would be really pretty, wouldn't it? Kind of like a mauve, purpley kind of pant. That'd be pretty. I think Elizabeth was saying she was not getting notified about the lives. Do you get notified, like, through YouTube for anything else? Like, if I post a video, do you get notified? It might be that you don't have your notifications on. But like Andrea says, I'm usually here every Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So, yeah. Sylvia's asking, will the current die manufacturing issues that have been occurring change how you design your future releases? A little bit. Like, I'm taking into consideration the size of my die sets more. Like, if I can do something without it, being really large, or if there's a more creative way to use some dies or something like that, I'm going to try to do that. Taking into consideration, yeah, it's tough out there, y'all. Oh, turtles, Molly, yes. Jay is asking, will you be doing any watercoloring of critters anytime coming up? I love your watercoloring. I haven't done a watercolor card in a bit. I actually have one that I filmed using my long line leaves like a month ago. I've edited it. I have not done the voiceover for, so that'll be the first thing I share coming up next. It's not critters, it's just leaves, but it is a fun watercolor video, so I'll share that soon. But I haven't done like a real watercolor in a while, so I think I need to do that. Let's see. Ooh, the Greeting Farm has cats in their stamps in their new release. Love that. Brandy said she did not get a notification either. Do you normally get one, Brandy? Weird. Oh, Tammy, that's so sweet. Thank you. She says, I'm so over the moon about your new product line. Your artistic view is awesome. Thank you. That's great. Yes, Brandy, turtles and maybe a nautical nod release. Yes. I love it. The thing is, I feel like I missed the boat, no pun intended, for this year, because I'm, like I said earlier, I'm starting into designing my Christmas stuff, my holiday things. So it's like holiday, and then Valentine's, and then I can get into that. So there's just too many things to design for, right? Love it. All right, I'm going to wrap it up for the night. I'm going to go have dinner with my husband. I think we're making, it sounds like the wrong time of year to do it, but ginger molasses cookies. We have some ready to go in the oven, so I'm going to put them in. He loves ginger, so this will be good for him. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and for all the suggestions and answering things in the polls. That was so fun. I love it. Delia says, She purchased my entire bundle. That's awesome. I hope you love it. I love it. And I'm glad you were able to get it. Sounds like the stitching dies, like the dash line dies, were quick to go, which I'm in my mind, I'm like, those were the dies I almost didn't do. I didn't think I needed them. But everyone was like, no, you really do need to do these dies. And it sounds like you guys really wanted them. So I'm glad I did. Thanks for joining me tonight. I will be back here next Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. In the meantime, I've got a watercolor video I'm hoping to share with you and some other things in the works as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in another video very soon.